Wednesday night, December 25th, 2019. Tonight's class is dedicated in memory of Rafael Bertesh bin Mazal. Okay, so we're going to be studying the topic of praying for the welfare of the government. And it's an interesting topic because there's a prayer that's in the Sidurim, or in many cases was in the Sidurim, it's no longer there. It definitely appears in practically everybody's mahzor for Yom Kippur. And what is this prayer? Why do we say it? Should it be said? How was it composed? When? Where? We're going to start with something that's completely different. Okay, something that I didn't mention in the chat. We're going to read a Teshuvah first from Raphael Evers. Raphael Evers is the rabbi of Rotterdam in the Netherlands. Okay? Non-Sephardi. Real hardcore Ashkenazi. He's alive. He's the current rabbi. Okay? And we're going to use his teshuvah as a springboard to try to understand the prayer better. It's a short teshuvah, only about 3 columns. You have it in front of you. And then from there we'll go into Bisham Tov Gegin. We're okay so far? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the question that was posed to him, or that he's trying to answer rather. אם מותר להסיר מסדר התפילה בעד המלכות הנותן תשועה. Can we remove from the order of prayers the prayer for the kingdom? Prayer that we know as Noten Teshuvah. Now, before we continue, how many of you are familiar with this prayer or hear it on a regular basis? Barry is saying not sure.
I don't know.
Mark saying yes. AB, I'm sure, saying yes. Michael Safdie, maybe here and there sometimes. David Betesh, yes. Ralph, yes. So, Syrian community of New York is notorious for saying it. Rabbi Jacob Kassan Alav Shalom used to say it. Outside of the Syrian community of New York, New Jersey, it's virtually unknown among Sephardim today. Maybe they just say it in Morocco because they pray for the welfare of the king. But any student that's coming out of Israel today definitely doesn't even have this prayer printed in anymore. No longer exists. And among the Ashkenazim, it's definitely said, and there are different versions of it. In the Italian tradition, there's the old Italian tradition, they don't have this whatsoever, and they've never had it. Yemenites as well, the traditional Yemenites, which we'll call, not the traditional, non-traditional, but the older school Yemenites, which are called the Baladi, don't say it, and the newer type of Yemenites, which are called the Shami, which are those that are influenced by the Minhag of Sephardim, do say it, or say it to somewhat of a degree. Now let's continue. So can we remove this prayer? Now we've already said that not everybody says it, so can we remove it? She'ila. במוסד חרדי רצו הגבאים להשמיט תפילת הנותן תשועה, תפילה בשלומה של מלכות מטעם כמוס, ונשאלתי אם מותר להסיר חלק זה מהתפילה הקבועה. He goes, there's a certain Haredi institution that those Gabbaim in charge want to omit this prayer for whatever reason they have for themselves. They have their own private reason that they want to get rid of it. And I was asked, is it permissible to do so or not? Teshuvah. מקורה של התפילה בעד המלכות הוא ממאמר בחנינה סגן הכהנים. Okay, so what's the source for praying for the kingdom? It's a statement, and it's in Pirkei Avot. Read the verse, small one line Mishnah basically. It's Perek Gimel of Pirkei Avot. It's the second Mishnah, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, here you go. Rabbi Hananiah, סגן הכהנים אומר, הווה מתפלל בשלומה של מלכות, של מלא מוראה, איש את רעהו חיים. Now watch this text over here. Bela'unu. Now Bela'unu is not the typical text, but this is based upon a lot of research into ancient texts, this particular printing over here. In any case, Rabbi Hananias again Kohanim says, pray for the welfare of the government, because if there was no fear of government, people would basically swallow each other alive. Okay? Basically, society would be helter-skelter, people would be running amok, killing, stealing, doing anything and everything because there's nobody there to watch over whatsoever. So that's the Mishnah. Now we come back to our Teshuvah. מקורה של התפילה בעד המלכות הוא מאמר בחניה בן סגן כהנים. בעיין בסדר ביאורים לפרק אבות. שהוא היה אחד מעשרה הרוגי מלכות שאמרו על עצמן שחייבים מיתה למלך גדול ונורא מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שמסר אותם ביד מלך בשר ודם. So he is one of the עשרה הרוגי מלכות, one of those 10 martyrs that we read about them on Tisha B'Av. And basically they said about themselves that they were required to be murdered, okay, by God for putting them into the hands of worldly kings. והיינו שהרגישו בעצמן איך המלכות הרשעה הרגה אותם בשליחותו השם יתברך. And they sensed how Borei Olam killed them by putting them through the hands of these worldly kings. זה אומר שהבינו איך מלכותה דרקיעה התבטא במלכותה דרעה. They were able to sense how God, King above, was able to work through the kings below. והעניין של תפילה הוא שדרך המלכותה דרעה נכיר במלכות שמיים באופן נעלה יותר. And you could sense how the kingdoms work with one another. ובזה יתבהר לשון המשנה איש את רעהו חיים ברעו. And that's how we understand the words of the Mishnah. דלכאורה יוקשה על פי הפסוק אין יראת אלוהים במקום הזה והרגוני. Right? Who said that, Abi?
Yaakov.
Right. Yaakov was going to who? Was Yaakov or it was Ishaq? Or was it Abraham?
Abraham, going to Avimelech.
I know, I won't be.
What?
Right? You said it was Yaakov. Ralph was saying it was Abraham.
What you talk about?
אין יראת אלוקים במקום הזה.
איש את רעהו חיים ברעו. אין יראת אלוהים במקום הזה והרגוני.
Oh,
So now good. So now we know it's Abraham Avinu. Abraham went and he said, there is no fear of God in this place, and because of that, they're going to kill me. Bottom line is, there's nothing to protect me here. והווה לילתנה להשתמש בלשון איש את רעהו חיים הרגו. והנה כשאדם מכיר את מעלות עצמו, עלול לחשוב שיחזיק טובה לעצמו. כשיודע פתיחות ערכו של חבריו שהמצב הרוחני של הדור הוא ירוד מאוד. Person knows how to sense what dangers, what's going on around him, what he can do, what he can't do, what he's safe doing, what he's not safe doing, what can transpire. Okay? Same thing, you hit certain neighborhoods, you know how you have to watch yourself differently. אפשר שיגיע האדם למסקנה שלא צריך להיות בטל אליו ובלוע בתוך מוסיעו. היינו שאומנם אינו שולל חלילה וחס קיומו של הזולת, אבל החיים שלו צריכים להיות בלועים במסיעותו הוא. ועל פי זה יומתע כדיוק לשון המשנה ואפשר לשאול בפירוש הרעב. Okay. We're not going to study the whole Mishnah.
Common sense. This is all like a whole thing.
It's not nonsense at all.
No, I said it's common sense, not nonsense.
Okay. Okay.
You could have said it. You should have said it in one line. You don't need all.
But they don't. We
I'm
know.
just saying.
They generally like to stretch things out and explain themselves.
I like to get to the point.
ומכיוון שיש לומר שיש מקום באדם השכלי לייחס לזולתו באופן זה, לכן דרושה מוראה של מלכות כדי לבטל מידה הלא רצויה הזו. Okay, so obviously, as David said, he wants to get to the point, cut to the chase. You need to understand that if you don't have a government in place watching out for things, then anything is going to run amok, and we're not going to have any sort of order or sense to things, and people are not going to feel secure. והנה מלך בשר ודם שורשו במלכותה דרקיעה ומשמעות התפילה היא שנזכה ונכיר איך המלכותה דרקיעה מתבטאת במלכותה דרעה. Part of this prayer, if we look at the words of the prayer, I'm going to get to that shortly, we're going to see that how we relate to God is how God relates to the government at hand, and how they really are channeling one another's energies. And just through the fact of knowing that there's a government there that has laws and rules, that you have to be afraid of, it also brings you to Yirat Shamayim, to fear God, because now you know there's a higher power above as well. And this also causes a person to not be as haughty with his fellow man. I think that's a stretch, but let's see where he goes with it. And we have to pray that we merit to understand how Borei Olam is able to balance things out between all people. And that's the main purpose of this prayer, of praying for the welfare of the government. But we're still unsure if it's obligatory to say this prayer or not, even though by this cursory glance it would seem that it's definitely obligatory. That's what he's starting with. Now, let's just look at the prayer itself. If you go further back, I believe I put it there. One page before the last, possibly. One page before that. Alright, I didn't put it there, I'm sorry. Alright, so it's not there. No, forget it, it's not there. I'm looking at what you have there.
I'm sure you have a siddur that has it.
Yeah,
Inside.
Phones have it.
no, but yeah, so I'm going to go through it in English. I don't want to even read it in Hebrew yet. Okay? May he who gives salvation to kings and dominion to princes, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, who delivers his servant David from the evil sword, who makes a way in the sea and a path through the mighty waters, bless and protect, guard and help, exalt, magnify and uplift whoever the case may be here, in this our case, the president, vice president, and all the officials of this land. May the supreme King of Kings in his mercy put into their hearts and the hearts of all the counselors and officials to deal kindly with us and all Israel. In their days and in ours, may Judah be saved and Israel dwell in safety. And may the Redeemer come to Zion. May this be his will. And let us say Amen.
Amen.
Okay? We're good with that? Translation is basically what the prayer is. You like that English there, Barry? You were enjoying it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good. It's people understand it. When it's being read, it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
You think of
at the
Trump?
Iraqi synagogue, Abe Abraham used to read it in English. The prayer for the president and the vice president. I do remember that distinctly
Okay.
because it's the only thing that was ever said in English besides
Okay.
the speech.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got something in English.
Yeah.
Alright. Da'awat Rishonim. So let's see what the Rishonim actually say about this. Now, before we continue, and this we'll see when we get to Rabbi Shem Tov Gegin, we don't know where the prayer came from. We don't know who wrote it. We don't know when it was written. He'll come up with his ideas and his thoughts, Rabbi Shem Tov Gegin, but technically, we don't know. We don't know how old the prayer is, how new it is, when it started, where it started, nothing.
So when is Rabbi Chanina? What's his time?
Hmm?
Okay, I bought.
He's in-
No, what time is he? I'm saying BCE. What time, time?
I can give you that year if you want. You can find that in a second.
I mean,
Second
Mishnah time is
temple.
200
Second
Second
AD,
temple?
Second temple.
something like that.
Yeah, he's one of the Harugei Malchut.
Yeah,
So he's
that's
gotta
exactly
be,
what year.
I would say 30.
Oh, the time of the first temple?
Yeah,
I mean, the second
first
temple
second
before it was
temple.
destroyed?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know
yeah,
that.
it's right around there.
Of course,
Hmm?
70.
So it's before the
69,
Battle of Lao.
68.
Okay.
Okay. But either way, we don't have a
Right,
Okay,
for this.
exactly,
for this
yeah.
particular prayer. No.
And
Right.
some people say the president's name, and some people say the word president and without the name.
Okay, and
I mean, I've heard it both ways.
The Mosseri seems to state.
It gives you a little dots
Yeah,
to put
yeah.
it in. When I was a kid, I used to remember the Jimmy Carter. We used to hear the name, but
Oh.
you don't even know what that is.
The prayers didn't
Wait,
work.
like,
For some reason, Harry didn't know about the prayer then.
you weren't even born.
Huh?
That's
Wait,
a
what?
rough one.
What?
Praying for Carter.
He was
Praying for Carter.
I mean, I wasn't around.
I think Ezra wants to.
Join in.
Yeah, somebody wants to help him out.
Barry, you want
40
You're
AD.
good
I
at
got
that.
battery.
Sit down. Okay.
40 AD in Israel.
You're right.
It was
40, something
first
like
Am I calling
generation
Ezra, you mean?
Tanakh.
I said 30.
Okay.
He wants to call in?
Father of Rabbi
Yeah.
Shimon.
So I'll FaceTime him.
All right,
By
yeah.
10 years, 2,000 years ago, it's not too bad.
Okay, we're still on.
What's that?
He said 40 AD, it says 30, so I was like, you're off by 10 years, 2,000 years ago? Not too
Yeah,
bad.
it's not too bad. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. והנה, מדברי רש"י על פרק ראשון,
What are you calling it?
משמע שיש בזה כעין מזווה. So, we're telling us over here, if you look at the previous Mishnah, according to Rashi, it may seem like there was actually a mitzvah. כיוון שנאמר, ודרשו את שלום העיר אשר הודיתי אתכם שמה. אפילו באומות העולם, even the nations of the world. שכן מסינו שהיו נודרים נדרים ונדבות בשבילם. The people used to make different types of swears and promises and donations for them. וכמו שמסינו בשבעים פרים. Okay, we had the 70 bulls. שהיו ישראל מביאים בחג על 70 אומות. And we know that during the holiday of Sukkot, Am Yisrael would bring all these bulls as korbanot for the nations of the world. וכן משמע מדברי רבי יונה שכן דרכן של צדיקים להתפלל על שלום כל העולם ולהסתער סער של אחרים. And the way of the tzaddikim would be to pray for the peace and the welfare of the entire world, and to also to be concerned and worried on anybody else's troubles. שאין לאדם לעשות תחנוניו ובקשותיו וצרכיו לבד. So the person should not only
Mute your phone, Bubba.
put out his prayers and his concerns for himself. אך להתפלל על כל בני אדם שיעמדו בשלום. Rather, he should pray for all people that everybody should be in peace. עד כאן השלום. ואחר שהזהירו בפרק ראשון בכבוד החכמים ומוראם. And so after they warned us in the first perek of this third, or rather in the Mishnah, בכבוד החכמים ומוראם, should be in the first Mishnah of the third perek, in the honor of the Hachamim and the fear of them, הודיע דצריך לצרף עמה כבוד השלטונים ומוראם. That we have to include among that the honor of the ruling nation. ולהוסיף בה עד שיתפלל בשלומה. And you have to continue with that until you pray.
You can't, he has to mute his phone. I can't mute him.
You have to pray for them. שהנהגת בני אדם,
Mute your phone, buddy. Yes, sir. Cool. Thank you.
שהנהגת בני אדם אמנם היא חלוקה לשני חלקים. הנהגה תורנית והיא מסורה לחכמים, והנהגה מדינית והיא מסורה לשלטונים ולשופטים. So every person needs to know how to split themselves, that you have a way that you act with way of acting Torah-wise, which is referring to the Mesorah, the chain of tradition and the Hachamim, and the way we act within the country within which we live, and how we act vis-a-vis the government. And this is, all regarding the government and the rulers and the judges and the police and all their laws as well. We have to obviously abide by everything. שתחסר הנהגת החכמים, אומנם לא תחסר הנהגה מדינית בכך. And even if, for whatever reason, you're lacking in your in the way you act towards the Hachamim, this should not have any bearing on the way you act towards, the country within which you live. You have to still abide by the laws of the country, or the locale, the city, whatever it may be. But once you give up and start disobeying the laws of the place in which you live, you're obviously going to then disobey the Torah. כל שאין שם מוראת מלכות, כל אחד מתיירא מחברו שיתנקה ויתגולל עליו, וכל זמנו יבהלוהו טרדותיו בשתדלות חוסלתו, והוא שהפליג בהתפלה עליה, ולא סוף דבר במלכות ישראל, אלא אפילו בשל אומות העולם, עד כאן לשון המאירי. So the Meiri is saying that once you give up on following the laws, you feel that you're now above the law. And you can do whatever you want to anybody. Once you start thinking like that, then obviously you no longer have Yirat Shamayim. You don't have this fear of heaven. You're not thinking about God. You're not thinking about Torah. You may be acting out the motions. Yeah, you're getting up and you're going to pray and you're going to class, but you're just acting. It's a show. It's not real. There's no Yirat Shamayim over there. So you have to have this Yirah of the Malchut, okay, of the kingdom, in order for you to keep this Yirah of the Torah.
That's interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. And it makes a lot of sense too.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It really makes sense.
If only people would follow that.
Well,
No,
that's part of why we bring these things up, David. Okay?
that's
We
very
bring them
interesting.
up, and these are what the Hachamim are saying. It's not, some guy was sitting in his, his bed and couldn't fall asleep. Oh, I thought of something right now. We're reading it, and it's based upon something, and it makes sense. Now,
It's like a more basic requisite to have the fear of the
Yeah.
government, and then it's a higher level, more sophisticated of Hachamim and Torah.
right.
So it's people think the opposite. First thing,
Unfortunately, because once they think Torah, the Torah is all
right?
lofty, so it has to be greater. And the Torah, of course, is greater. But the Torah,
One.
is a blueprint for us to follow. And the Torah is telling us that we have to follow the law of the land. Dinah de Malchut Dinah. And that's there for a reason. And you can't say, you know what, I'm going to evade taxes, and I'm going to, I'm going to run through red lights, and whatever it may be, Everybody has their own way of saying that I can, I'm above the law.
Walked at a pump tonight.
What?
Nothing. I was at a pump tonight.
It's terrible.
Okay. Now, אין להתפלל על עובדי עבודה זרה. So we can't, next section, not to pray for those who worship עבודה זרה. שוב, תביט עיני בסדר, או בספר סדר יעקב על מסכת עבודה זרה, דף ד' עמוד א', מאת מונה הרב יעקב ירוחם פרשנר, מאיר Zurich. Okay, so there's a rabbi in the city of Zurich, Switzerland, Rabbi Vershner, who wrote this particular book called Seder Yaakov.
Also alive?
I don't know, but based upon the what do you call the title at the end of his name, Yishmero Soro Goalo, means at the time of the writing of this, he's alive. So he's probably still alive. מה שכתוב בבירור שיטות הראשונים והפוסקים שם בסוגיה הנוגע לנדוד דם. וזה לשונו. Okay, so he's going to bring down this rabbi's opinion regarding our topic at hand as it applies to us. על כל פנים, מבואר דאין להתפלל על עובדי עבודה זרה. ויש לומר שהוא מסד לא תישא, שבראשי תיבות הווה. לא תעשה, דלא תחונם. אם כן, איך אפשר להתפלל על שלומה של מלכות? So we have this law, okay, that we can't really have mercy upon them, to have caring for them. And if that's the case, how can we, pray for the welfare of the government if we're not supposed to care about them? Okay, care about them meaning those who worship Avodah Zarah. Not just talking about anybody, we're talking about people that are actually going against the basic framework of Torah. Hare.
Your grandparents couldn't pray for the Indian government.
You're on.
No, it was ruled by the British for at least part of that time.
There you go. Hare mitpalel Avodah Zarah. You're praying for Avodah Zarah. Bekan and the Tares the Atidim Mitgayer. And you can't say, as there's an opinion, this is no, you're praying for them because you're praying for them to convert. You can't be there. Come on. He's telling you straight out. It can't be. There's right now when you're praying, that's not the case. They're not even thinking about converting. What are you talking about? Don't play games. Because all these Avodah Zarah are going to change their ways, and all of a sudden they're going to become, straight people, and the Mashiach is going to come. And then Mashiach is going to come and he's going to convert them all. So your prayer is so that all the Avodah Zarah become Gerim. Okay? This is not what you think about when you're praying. It's impossible. When you're praying for the welfare of the government, that the government stays, prospers, does well, the way it currently is, hopefully that's the case usually. So technically you're praying for them to continue the way they are, being worshippers of Avodah Zarah. But why are you praying for the government technically? Really, if you think about it and read the words, because we're looking for our own welfare. We're praying for them so they're good to us. And so that things are good for us living within their confines, and for our co-religionists that are living outside, and so that they, look favorably upon us. Because if there's no malchut, there's no government, then people swallow each other alive. Okay, same way it's forbidden to give a present to a worshipper of the stars and the what have you. But if he's your neighbor, or something like that, mutar, it's permissible. Because you're not giving him a present for the sake of giving him a present, you're giving him a present for yourself. Because you're looking for this guy to be your friend, to look favorably upon you, for him to help you out, in the future. So you're really giving the present to him. Call it a bribe, okay? It's just a way for him to look favorably upon you. So really, you're not giving a present to the goy, you're giving the present to yourself. And the same way you go and visit, your neighbor who's not feeling well. Because you don't want the guy to say, "Well, look at this dirty Jew. What a terrible person he is." You're doing things. He's being honest. That you can give all types of explanations, but we're really looking out for ourselves. Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all true.
I'm sorry.
What?
What did you say?
I don't know. The good neighbor. Sometimes people just want to visit the guy, not because.
Okay.
You're afraid
Sometimes,
of it.
but you're living in a different world than.
Well. Okay.
No. These people are living in Europe, current day Europe. Europe is still very, very difficult. It's always looking at the Jew, and the way things are turning around here, we don't know what it's going to be for us over here. We're still living in New York. New York is a different place. But go outside of New York. What's it like? Go to Kentucky. Go to Tennessee.
North Carolina.
Better than universities.
North Carolina.
Yes. So he's being honest with you. Okay. So really your prayer is not just for the government. It's a prayer for the good of Israel. And and the government is basically a conduit for this. وفي זה יש לומר, דהבן פלל בשלומה של מלכות, אינו חיוב, רק היתרה, כמשמע לן. So therefore, then praying for the government is not a obligation, it's just something that they allow you to do for your own benefit. Okay? בסוף דבר, אסור להתפלל על מלכות אומות העולם, דנמסה להתפלל על עובד עבודה זרה, וסתם אומות העולם, כמשמע לן מותר. Because there are those that say that you can't pray for those who are Obdei Avodah Zarah. And if that's the case, then maybe you really shouldn't be praying for the government whatsoever. And you can do it if you want to because you're doing it for yourself. So he's trying to look at both things. He opened up saying that it would seem like a hayub to do it. Now he's showing you why there are those who would say it's asur to do it and how you find a way to go about doing it anyway. כמה שמענו למותר. לפי זה יש לומר, די טעמה ששמיטו הפוסקים כיוון דאין זה בחיוב. And therefore many of the poskim don't mention it because it's not a חיוב, it's not an obligation. וסמכו עצמם על הדין הסכם דעיל שמותר לתת אפילו מתנה ממש לגוי עם כוונתו לטובת ישראל. And they just rely upon the fact that the same way you're not allowed to give a present to a goy, but if it's going to work out for your benefit later on for you as a Jew, then it will be mutar. وبما مشجين داني من بحيوبه هيا دول ربنا كدوش تمشناز وبرك داد وبرك تي لبرخون جسكرو شمتي في اللوش حياة الليل. Now, if this was obviously a hiyub, then this was something that would come up in Masechet Berachot. You would find it over there. And if since it's not mentioned over there and nothing similar or related to it, so it's not a hiyub. Okay, and we know there are places that have not to say it. بعدين بنوش الشيء بنوش البين اليوناد أبوه شان من مدبرهم ليش بلي على الملخوض ومتعولم فلو إن بينهم بين عمهم كون كافر دقيق بسبب ده موشى عم زغر أبوه ليش خيون هري زي السوم مثال لو تحولنين كذا إيه معصى الدو حق ناس في هذا الشيء بين يوناد من يتان أزيل لا مع أبوه زراد بكاد متالتين متنال حنان لا عكوم يمكن هو دين ثم هذا عليهم. So again, he's going back and forth trying to see if it's hiyub, not hiyub. In any case, there are ways to get around it, but it definitely seems like it's not obligatory upon anybody to say this prayer. Now, finally he's going to end it off. If there is benefit for himself, then it's mutar. It's permissible. عود مصاتي بسيعة هذا اسمه مقوم أحيل وبمجين أبراهام هذا سمان كوف بيطيت رفقتان آلف كتاب دي ببيت عكوم إن أمري من بركات المازون كين يبريخ وتهان كلان ياحد برخاش لما. Right? If you're saying بركات المازون in a goy's house, now you shouldn't be saying بركات المازون in a goy's house whatsoever anyway. Okay, so I guess it's a hypothetical type of thing, but you would have to omit certain words. Okay, because you can't say يبريخ وتهانو ياحد كلانو, you know, you can't say bless all of us together because it's not the same. It wouldn't fit in, he's telling you. Okay, say us, those of the covenant. That would be okay. And therefore it would exclude those who aren't part of the covenant. למדנו שאסור לברך עקום לפני שהוא איסור תורה מלא תחונן, ואם כן, תורה דין אסור להתפלל עליהם מהטעמה גופה. והאין דבר תורה יורדעה סימן קנ"א סעיף קטן י"ט דמותר להתפלל על עקום שלחו ישראל למרחקים שיחזור בשלום, ואם לא האחי יעלילו עליו. ואין זו סתירה לכיוון שיש שואל לעצמו מותר כמובן וכן עיין עוד מה שכתב בזה, ואין ספרים ההם לפני לעיין בגוף דבריהם. Well, it's a case where they would suspect that the Jews may have done something evil, you know, to a particular non-Jew, you know, so it's very important that the Jews openly show that they're praying for the non-Jew. So it looks like everything is okay. Again, we're looking for our own benefit that they don't turn on us. על כל פנים, לפלל על עבודה עבודה זרה, שהם באיזה מקום, באיזו שרה, נראה דה אסור. Now, just to pray for goyim, let's say you hear there's some volcanic eruption on some remote island in the middle of the Pacific, and you know there's no Jew anywhere around there, and then you're gonna go start praying for for these people. He says it would seem that's asur to pray for them. Zulat.
Not goyim, just
No, that's what I was saying.
idolaters.
So if it's in
Yes.
Sri Lanka, some
Yeah,
volcano in
but
Sri
that's
Lanka, and we don't know who these people are.
It's
Who-
the earthquake in
that.
Haiti.
Oh, Haiti. Okay.
So Haiti, it's not asur because they're not over there. Avodah
But I'm mentioning a country like Sri Lanka where
Zarah. Are they avodah?
I don't know. What are they
I
worshiping
don't
in Sri Lanka? I have no idea.
Buddha and all those.
I don't know. Yes? I have no
Yeah.
idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. But anyway, let's say there's some island. They have some islands, that have just tribes still. They do exist.
Yeah,
Okay? And something's happening over there.
Amazons.
Okay? Volcanic eruption, earthquake, tsunami, a tidal wave, whatever it may be. Okay? And it's only Avodah Zarah there. Nobody else. Okay?
We still send Israelis.
That's true.
Shem be'ezem makom be'ez sarah nir'eh asur. So it would seem that it would be asur to pray for them. Zulat im nikah she'osin kem panei derchei shalom. Pale be'yahidi ve'em ezeh shum presum panei derchei shalom ve'em bezeh kol ha'shan. So if you're doing it so you keep the peace, you as a community of Jews, all right, they say everybody, should pray, get in their houses of worship and pray for the calamity over here. If that's the case, is the Shalom, you have to go and you go do it. But you as an individual in your house by yourself, nobody knows, you should not be doing it. That's what he's telling you.
That's what said don't. No, something wrong.
ואגב אורחים יש פלא עם שם בלודה שיש מי שם דברי המגן אברהם אלו בעתיקה מגלת ומגן בבורי מהכס ושער נוסף ושער מנדל והקו החיים שבן קופטס ובגדם חיים שם ונרד ודאי כך הלכה למעשה ומן האמר לא העתיק זה ומשם בלודה לא העתיק וזה מפני אימת המלכות ושמח עצמו על שעובד ולעזב בר שהיטב שם לא תראה בסימן שלנה משם בלודה סעיף קטן חי ושלח לכתוב למטה שהכוונה לאנשי הודו חיוסי בו פני פחד האויב וחיי השמידו הגז אם כן, כמיתה דלה שפחה כל כך שמח לעצמו מה שכתב במרתב, עין נוסן וכתבין העולם, הדפיסו אותם עם שם בלולה, ואין מה שישמע לזוב זה ראיה, בסמילה דקן. היא הדחה לבחה, ויהיה בזה חשיסות הורה, וסליחין לזהה בזה. אין שם עוד, אי כן הדין, במומרד העובד העוזרה, וחשבה וקשמנה. וסליח דימה, okay. The bottom line, he's just giving you a side point over here that something was written in the Mishnah Berurah, and the Mishnah Berurah censored it himself because he was afraid of the government censors. And instead of writing an actual case that was going on, he said, yeah, something's going on in India. That way the people who are studying it understand it refers to Avodah Zarah of any kind, and the government that he was living under in Europe wouldn't take it as a reference to them and their religion. So that was just a side point. Okay, so this was what this Rabbi Evers from the Netherlands had to say about Hanotit Shu'alim Elachim. So bottom line is, according to what he's telling you, it seems like it's a Hiyub, but it's not a Hiyub. And if you're doing it because you're going to derive benefit from it, then it's okay. Good with that? No. Now let's look at Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin. Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin. Okay, Ezra, if you're with us, we're on page 417.
Want to take pictures of this now?
Taf Yod Zayin in Keta Shem Tov.
Here,
No president.
20.
Okay.
Okay. מנהג לונדון שתפילת הנותן תשועה למלך וכל משפחתו נאמרת אחר ההפטרה על ידי אחד החזנים. So the custom of London, this prayer for the welfare of the government and for the king and his family is said after the haftarah by one of the hazanim. אבל אם הרב הראשי נמצא שם, הוא העומד תפילה זו. If the chief rabbi is there, he says the prayer. ובשעת תפילה זו המברך נושא ספר תורה בזרועו. And while the prayer is being said, the person saying the prayer, who is the Hazan or the rabbi, holds the Sefer Torah while he says the prayer.
Yeah.
Okay? אבל באמסטרדם, but in Amsterdam, המנהג לומר תפילה זו בשעת פתיחת ההיכל וקודם הושאה ספר תורה. But in Amsterdam, the Sephardim there say it at פתיחת ההיכל before they take out the Sefer. Good? Good. Now, interesting thing before we continue,
Doesn't mention it.
he doesn't mention the Middle East at all exactly. It wasn't commonplace. It really wasn't. Okay. Let's see what it says on the bottom now. נוסח תפילה זו עוד לא נודע בדיוק ממתי נתקבלה בכל תפוסות ישראל לאומרה כמו שכתובה בסידורנו. Because this prayer, we still don't know exactly when it was accepted by Jewish communities around the world to say it as we see it printed in our Siddur. וגם לא נודע מי היה מחברה. And we don't know who authored this text. לפי מה שכתב פרומקין בסידור רב עמרם גאון. So Frumkin was the editor of Rav Amram Gaon's Siddur, and he mentioned that over there as well.
So it's in Rav Amnon Gaon Sidur that he mentioned it?
Look at pull it out and see it. No, Frumkin edited it. There's a lot. See, the problem with Rav Amram Gaon's Siddur is that because it was so widespread, there are so many different versions of it. There's a lot of talk among scholars as to what really is from Amram Gaon and what was included by other people over the course of time.
Right.
And nobody's really sure. They have a lot of ideas of what seems to be older and what seems to be newer, but they're not 100% positive. So is the prayer there? There is mention of praying for the government there. But the prayer like this, no. כי נמצא בפנקס גרמיזה שנכתב בזמן הגזרות של תתנו ותתקו. One of these גזרות of תתנו and תתקו.
What's that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah.
When?
What is that?
So there was all these types of pogroms, okay, and the Gezerot. I'll find you exactly when and where. Let's see. Here we go.
Is it
It
Russia?
happened during the Crusades in 1096. All right, and yeah, through the First Crusade. And that's basically what's going on. So we're talking about, as we've talked about the First Crusades, when we've talked about things with Sefirat HaOmer. So this is the same time period.
1100s around.
Okay? שהיו אומרים ברכה למלך. They used to pray for the king. ומתחילת מי שברך אבותינו הוא יברך את אדוננו הקיסר ירום הודו. And they used to pray for the Caesar, for whoever the king was. עיין שם. ורבינו דוד אבו דרהם כתב שאחרי שגלה לספר תורה, so in other words, after they finish reading the Sefer Torah and they roll it up, נוהגים לברך את המלך ולהתפלל להשם שיעזרהו ויאמסהו עד אויביו. Okay? We used to pray for the king and to give him the strength that he needs to overcome his enemies. שכן כתוב ודרשו את שלום העיר אשר הגליתי אתכם שמה והתפללו בעדה אל אדוני כי בשלומה יהיה לכם שלום. Okay, pasuk from Yirmiyah. So let's see, Yirmiyah Chaftet, right? Chaftet. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. Okay? So Pasuk is telling you straight out, pray for it. The city's good, you're good. Right? ושלום העיר הוא שיתפללו לשם שינסח המלך אויביו פעמים ברקמת עבודה זרה אמר ביהודה אמר שמואל מה דאמר תעשה אדם כדגי הים כנומס לו מושל בו מה דגים שבים כל הגדו בחברו בולע את חברו אף בני אדם מלא מורה מלכות איש רעהו חיים בלעו והיינו דתנה רבי חנניה סגל הכהנים אומר ומפלל בשלוש מלכות ואחר כך מברך את הקהל ותמצא ששם ועבודם בתפילת שבת כתב לברך את המלך מלבם מה שכתב שכן עושים לאכול ביום ב' וה'. Okay, so Abu Darham is talking about praying for the sake of the government. So the first place we see it in Ashkenaz. Okay, we know it from the times of the Crusade. That's the earliest time that we seem to know about them praying for the king. And the next time we hear about it is from Abu Darham. And we know so many things from Germany
brought in
came
Spain.
the Rosh to northern Spain, to Toledo, and Abu Darham was their student. Got it? So many customs and practices of Germanic lands came to northern Spain, and more specifically to Toledo. And in Toledo, they were basically accepted, and we know about them through Abu Darham, and from there they spread out to the rest of Spain and to the rest of the Sephardic world with the expulsion of 1492. So many things that we do today, we know came from Germany and from their minhagim.
Did that spread to like northern Spain and like the Algeria and those areas, or
Say that again?
did it also go to like Morocco and Algeria
Certain,
and
sure,
north?
of course.
Or mainly stay there?
No. First, it would hit northern Spain. From northern Spain, it crept down throughout all of Spain. And then once people started leaving Spain, they took those customs with them. Okay? At first, it would hit what do you call the areas of Greece and Turkey. Okay, going from that side. Okay, because Turkey is basically the first people, inviting them in. People were escaping the northern, that southern route to get to North Africa, but there were a lot of killings on the way, so they really didn't survive well initially. But then once they started coming in, they started bringing in those things as well. But there was a very strong, called an older Jewish community in that North African belt. Okay, especially as I mentioned, Algiers stronger than any place else in North Africa. Okay, and what was the name of the specific area over there? What was specific? In Kairouan. Kairouan
Never heard
had.
of it.
Yeah.
Kairouan?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
So Kairouan had a very strong ancient Jewish population and rabbinic tradition, and so they were able to hold on to things without accepting in these different variations and changes. Obviously, these things came in later on, and certain things blended, certain things, and like in any area where there was indigenous Jewish population, and then these Spanish exiles came in, there was a blending of traditions, and there were areas where the dominant tradition of the early inhabitants upheld, and other things where basically it lost out to the new minhagim coming in, and we have a blend.
It's hard for us to understand that as Syrians because we always kept things out from everyone.
But that's so not true.
No,
So not true.
till nowadays.
No. In Halab there was a big mix, tremendous mix.
But they stuck to their ways.
No, they tried, but they weren't able to.
I think all communities were influenced by other communities.
Absolutely. And even if you weren't influenced by other communities, you were influenced by travelers,
Yeah.
by individuals. It all depends on how cosmopolitan your area was also. How many travelers were showing up and how often. Like a place like Cairo was constantly bombarded by travelers, Jewish travelers from the entire world. I already back from Genizah times. We see it in the Genizah, where people were showing up from Iraq and Iran and Syria and Lebanon and Algeria, Morocco and Tunisia and Israel and Yemen and France and Germany and Spain and all over the place. You know, you couldn't stop people from traveling and getting there and, you know, and exerting their influence. You know, if somebody comes in, they have a nice voice, or they're charismatic, or they're good looking, or they have a lot of money, they automatically have an influence.
So there's
Right.
people just learning about different customs. Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's nice. Oh,
Right, right.
Let's
Like you,
implement
like
that.
you told that story. No one's allowed to DoorDash halacha in the area.
Yeah.
It must be because of that reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. ואנוכי מצאתי שמנהג לברך את המלך הוא עתיק יומי. He goes, but now we're talking out. Our good friend Bishop Tulgagin, we haven't visited him with him for a while. So yeah, I did my own research, you know. And I said, let's see, you know, what's going on. And really, it's an ancient custom, okay? And I brought this up because now we're dealing with the Parashiyot of Yosef. And this comes up over here. That's one of the reasons I brought this up. Okay? הראש והראשון שבירך את המלך היה יעקב. Right? יעקב אבינו, first guy, שעמד לפני פרעה מלך מצרים, שנאמר, מברך יעקב את פרעה. Right away.
This week's parasha.
That's right. יעקב went and blessed פרעה. ואחר כך, החוזה ירמיה הזהירנו על זה, דרשו שלא
Next
מעיר.
week's parasha. Next week's
Maybe
parasha.
it's coming up, yeah.
I was just reading it this week. That's why.
Okay? And then the same pasuk from Yirmiyah that we said, go and, you know, pray for the welfare of the city that you're living in. ומצאתי יות מפורש ברוך תלמידו הנתפס עם הכתובים האחרונים. Okay, so there are obviously not books of the Tanakh, he's telling you, but apocryphal books. Like, don't we know Yirmiyah had a student Baruch, right? Baruch ben Neriah, correct?
He's like the scribe, right?
He was a scribe, and he has his own book. It's not part of our Tanakh, but it existed and was printed in Warsaw, he's telling you. And he writes, הנה אנחנו שולחים לכם כסף וקניתם בו עולות והשמים וקטורת מנחה להקריבם על מזבח אדוני אלוהינו. והתחננו בעד חיי נבוכדנצר מלך בבל ובלשאצר בנו למען יאריכון ימיהם כימי השמיים על הארץ. והשם יגדיל כוחנו ויאר עינינו לחיות בסד נבוכדנצר מלך בבל ובלשאצר בנו ועבדנו אותם כל ימי חיינו ומעשינו חן בעיניהם. התפללו גם אלוהי אלוהים בעדנו כי חטאנו לו. קראו בספר הזה כי שלחנו אליכם למען תקראו בו בשבתות מועדי השם. עד כאן. So all these psukim, go bring korbanot, go pray for Nebuchadnezzar, go pray for Belshazzar, let things, you know, bode well for us and for you, you know, let's live in peace, etc., etc. Baruch is writing it down. That's what was going on. Kodesh, okay, we have later on in Azra. קודש ביקש גם כן מישראל בזה הלשון דילי הו מהקריבין ניחוהין לאלה שמיה מוסלין לחיי מלכה ובנוהי. קודש was the king, and he went and asked, Bnei Yisrael, go bring korbanot, make them pleasant, okay, let them go up to God and pray for the welfare, for the life of the king and for his family. So we find it throughout the Tanakh. We find it in the Torah, then we find it in the Nevi'im, then we find it in the Ketuvim. Okay, and as a side point, we find it in Baruch. You like Baruch?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, your name's him.
Absolutely.
Okay. הרי למדנו מדברי ברוך בן נריה, בן צדקיהו, בן חלקיהו, שכבר היו נוהגים בימיהם מזמן גלות הבית הראשון לברך את המלך ובנו. So we already see that at the time of the first temple, they were already praying for the king and for his son. והיו נוהגים כן בשבתות מועדי השם. They did it on שבתות and holidays. וכן ביקש קודש על עצמו וגם על בנו שפלל בעדו. ודבר מעניין למדנו שלא היו נוהגים לברך גם את המלכה כמו שאנו נוהגים עתה. And it's interesting that we don't see that they mention praying for the queen but now, yeah, he's writing in England, Rabbi Gagin, saying nowadays we pray for the Queen. Okay, עין רש"י אומר, דעניין פיזק קשש כתב ברכה לעצמו שהיו מברכים תפילת חיי המלך כמפורש בסופת סוכה ינשם בספר יוסיפון מספר משמעון הצדיק בלכתו לקראת אלכסנדר שאמר מקום פנים עליך ועל נקודך שלא תחרב. Okay, and even Josephus talks about how they used to go pray for Alexander the Great. Okay, now, Rabbi Shem Tov Gagin gets into different Sidurim. Okay, I don't want to go through all the different Sidurim because he's basically going to show who they prayed for, what they prayed for. So that, we're not done yet. I'm going to try to wrap it up in 10 minutes. Okay? Different people. But that's not the case. Now we need to examine the prayer itself. Okay? I think you have a page over there with the prayer.
You just said no.
It's noteworthy to say, I mean,
Sorry, what are you asking?
What?
said it's noteworthy just to say Rabbi Gagin.
Yeah, yeah.
How he just takes a totally different approach.
Mm-hmm.
Like he goes back way historical.
Yeah.
This is, what's the problem with this? Like,
I'm not following
no,
you.
I'm saying what's the problem? It's all the Nevi'im and the Chachamim.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
They all bless the king. What's the,
You know, it's a very good thing. He's not against it whatsoever.
Right.
You know, and he adds, nowadays we pray for
Right.
the Queen too. You know, all very nice and well. But now let's look at the prayer itself. So the prayer is Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim. Okay? Maybe.
I'm listening.
If you're listening, but you're familiar with Tanakh, right? Hmm?
I don't know what you're trying to tell. What you're
I'm
getting at.
asking you if you are familiar with Tanakh.
Maybe.
Maybe. Okay.
Slightly.
So let's look at Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim for a second. I want to open up. I'm not getting at anything. I'm talking honestly.
Trying to
with
keep you up.
You think I'm saying something negative? I'm sorry. I'm not.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. I just want to find one thing over here. I made a note of it on my phone. 1 second.
They're down by 3. Oh, it's God.
It's good.
Of course.
Oh, this was good.
How's the dough? Looks pretty.
Okay, so we open up Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim, right? Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim comes from,
How many of your books inside have it in it?
I don't know, have a look.
Good question, eh?
No, it's not a great question.
There's two things that we read.
It's really not.
We read two things. There's Katan Mimshala and that. There's two.
No, you don't. No, you don't, Davey.
There's two things in the Siddur. And we don't read them both. Sometimes.
Which one? After
Before.
after Kriyat Sefer?
Yeah, there's two things to read. And sometimes you read one and you read the
No,
other.
read both.
We bless the people. Misha Barach.
Yeah.
That's different. That has nothing to do with it. That's a blessing for the congregation. Nothing to do with anything else. Okay? Now doing the prayer for the welfare of the government. Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim.
We
So,
should start that again.
what?
He said it.
So, Tehillim, Mizmor, Kof, Mim, Dalet, 144. Okay? Basically, what we read Saturday nights, Le David. Okay? There it is. So we say, right, so Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim, Hapose David Abdo Meher Bra'a. That's the Pasuk. So what does the Pasuk mean? No idea? Maybe? Possibly? Come on. Let's get you the best translation I have for it.
King James version, I'm sure.
No, because that's definitely not.
Definitely not King
King James Version is really not a great translation for us.
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Okay. So, Hanoten Tishu'a Melachim. To the one who gives victory to kings. Hapose David Abdo Meher Bra'a. Who delivers his servant David from the deadly sword. Okay? That's the first pasuk that we read. Correct? The next pasuk that we read has to go in the Tefillah. Then it goes, Hanoten Tishu'al Melachim, Umimshala Lenisichim, and dominion to rulers, Umalchuto Malchut Kol Olamim. And then Hapose David Abdo Meheb Ra'a. So it's adding a line into the pasuk, right? Good. Then it goes to Hanoten Bayam Darich Maim Azim Nitiba. Okay, Hanoten Bayam Darich, it comes from Yeshaya.
Oh, really?
Yeshaya, yeah. Oh really, yes, oh really. So let's open up Yeshaya and Gimel for a second. Because we're going to need it. And I'll show you why we're going to need it. I'm sorry? Maybe I don't hear you.
What's the mark?
Where does it go? Where's the pasuk? Come on, guys.
I don't have my phone.
You have your phone? Fine. I'll get it in a second.
Safari, so I'm going to Safari.
Well, basically, you have no idea what Rambam says on this whole issue, basically.
At least I know what somebody says on something.
Maybe he doesn't.
What did I have to
What do you think of that?
No?
Here we go. Come on. Here, Kol Amar Adonai Hanoten Bayam Darich Umayim Azim Nitiba. Okay, it's Yeshaya, Perek Mim Gimel, Pasuk Ted Zayin. Okay, 43:16. So let's see 43:16 in Yeshaya, what he says. We're going to need this also in a second. 43:16. This is what the Lord says. He who made a way through the sea, a path through the mighty waters.
Mhm.
Sounds nice.
Mm-hmm.
You think so? Look at your packet. Now go to your last page. You see you have this section over here. See, over here you have, look, over here you have Tehillim, and over here you have the Yeshaya. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
So let's go back to the Tehillim for a second. The Tehillim, we said it was more 144, correct? Yes? No? Somebody
Yeah,
told
yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
Good. So look at the Pesukim over there. We're starting with Pasuk Yod. To the one who gives victory to kings, who delivers his servant David from the deadly sword. Look how it continues now. Deliver me and rescue me from the hands of foreigners whose mouths are full of lies, whose right hands are deceitful. See what's going on? We're teasing with this pasuk. And for those in the Kahal who should know Tanakh, because we as a nation didn't make a difference if we're Sephardim or Ashkenazim, you know, we knew our Tanakh. So automatically you would hear this, you would know what's coming up.
Second pun.
So you're hearing something that you want those listening to hear, but you, as a good Jew, you really know what the content is and what's coming up. So you're saying, yeah, you know, do good for the kings, give victory to the kings, but you're saying, yeah, save me from these kings.
Right.
Okay? Now look at the Yeshaya that we just looked at. Okay? That we said that was 44, 43:16 we said, right?
16.
43:16 we said, this is what he who made a way through the sea, a path through the mighty waters, who drew out the chariots and horses. Makes you start thinking about the army and reinforcements together, and they lay there never to rise again, extinguished, snuffed out like a wick. Okay? So bottom line is we're paying lip service. This is all we're doing with this prayer. This prayer is not meant to be a prayer. This is meant to just to kiss up to them. Interesting thought.
Yeah, because if you follow through in either one of those two,
Right. Why did they could have picked other Pesukim to say. They could have picked anything to say. Why did they pick out two very specific Pesukim that each one follows with a very specific verse that shows the exact opposite of what you would think if you read that first verse alone?
exactly.
So why?
Because people who know Tanakh, like you said,
Exactly.
they'll say what sounds nice and pretty,
It's right.
and you continue it, and it's the destruction you're hoping for them to be destroyed and them to be destroyed. You need it in both places.
But you want them to think that you love them and you're praying for them. Yeah, you're not
And
really.
you really are, and you're not.
But you're praying for them only for your own benefit.
Right. Exactly.
See, you see
But
how
could,
this.
could you say that nowadays in this, like in the American
Wait.
government now?
Why not? The way the government's changing at any moment, you don't
Any
know.
moment.
You don't know.
You got
You don't know what you could expect.
right.
Now, let's move up to the top of that page.
Yeah, but if
Hey, go ahead.
let's say you no, I'm just saying.
I know I took you for a loop now.
No, I love it. Actually, very interesting. Big hidush.
this is
the
for
big hidush.
this is Hiddush, by the way, through Sam Cohen. Okay, so we have to give Sam a shout out on this one.
No, so but let's say you really appreciated the country you lived in, the foreign government.
Right. So then
You
don't
shouldn't say this.
Don't say, exactly.
Why
Don't
through
say-
Sam Cohen? Wasn't he getting this?
Huh?
No,
Sam Cohen's a friend of ours that lives in Israel, and he gets us, different things that we don't have access to sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
no, I was just saying like it sounds insincere. So you should
Right.
I
so,
say a different tefillah. 'Cause
so
this
maybe
is,
so maybe this tefillah should not be said.
right, or it shouldn't be
But
said.
who formulated this?
If we
the
look-
We don't know.
this?
If we don't know formally,
Oh, okay.
no, we don't know who, when, nothing. Okay, and if we look at this teshuvah that we read from Rabbi Evers, he says that the Gabaim want to do away with it
For some unknown reason.
for Tam Kamus Imam, their own secret reason. A reason that they don't want to say. Maybe they discovered why is there for, and it shouldn't be said. Maybe they don't want to share with everybody because they don't want to get it out there on the streets. This is what the Jews are saying. Could be. I don't know. The Rabbi Everest Teshuvah didn't come from Sam. That I found on my own.
It's so interesting.
Yeah. So now look at the top of the page. Who the class with? This is from the writings of Rabbi Yosef Kafah. Okay, I'm going to start from the third line.
What work is this?
His writings.
This is writings.
Writings.
Okay.
Kitabim. This is,
Modern day. Modern, right?
Mano, he passed away already. Okay, so Nosah, you see the third line, middle of the line, right after the period. Nosah hanoten tishu'ah nitkan bitbuna rabbah. This text of the Noten Tishu'ah was really established with a lot of wisdom. Velo b'kreh nitenu shnei pesukim hamesuim ba. And it wasn't by chance that they picked these two pesukim, he tells you. פסוקים אלה נבחרו מפני שיש בהם הסוואה לרחשי ליבם של היהודים לגבי המושלים העריסים שבכל דור ודור. Yeah, very, very specific words that really point out to those people who are coming up against Israel in every generation. העושים מעשה זמרי ומבקשים שכר כמנחס. They're basically they're doing what? They're effing us. Ma'aseh Zimri. Okay? They're screwing us and they want to get the reward of Pinahas. And he tells you exactly what we just said. The Pasuk Harishon, Neymar, Hanatin Tishu'ad Melachim, Hapozeh David Abdo Meher Bra'ah. And the immediate next Pasuk, Peseni, V'assideni, Miyad Ben Enechar, Asher Pihem, Bershavi, Minami, Min Shaker. Save me from these liars and these these wicked individuals. כוונת מפלל היא לסיום המשפט בפסוק השני. So we as prayer, as Jews praying, our intention is for the full verse. Not for just the opening verse, but for the completion of the two verses. והפסוק הקודם נלקח השוואה, בפסוק השני בפילה זו נאמר הנותן בימדך ועשינו תיבה, and it continues, המוסיר רכב וסוס חייל ועלו יהוד עלו ישבור לבד כמו דאחו כבשתה כהבו. וגם כאן כוונת פלל לסוף זה. Again, as we read it in the English, our intention is not just for the verse, the opening verse, but for the opening verse with the concluding verse. אך בתימן אין סורי בכל זה. Because obviously in Teman, he always liked to say that everything in Yemen was very different than any place else. We didn't need any of this. יכולים לומר את כל רחשי ליבם בפה מלא. In Yemen, we could say whatever we wanted. We weren't afraid of anybody. I find it hard to believe.
Considering
والبيضة بعينيه شو أنا أسوي بحبستي في ذاك الوقت. And he goes, he's writing against another Yemenite, a Mr. Rasabi, as he refers to him, and he was a professor. Okay, he goes, I can't believe he's actually searching for such a prayer in Yemen. You know, we wouldn't need such a prayer. We could just come out and say whatever we want.
they put him in jail. His
Maybe
father
it was
and his
different in his
grandfather.
time before he left.
Exactly, maybe his time. No, what Barry's referring to is they put him in jail because there were people that didn't like him, his father, his grandfather, and they would basically go to the government and rat on them. You know.
Oh, Kappa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kappa family.
And even in Yerushalayim, when they got there, they had a lot of issues.
Enemies.
Really?
A lot of enemies.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, even Rabbi Kassin was very much against them. And wrote against them
Why?
because of their ideas, their anti-Kabbalah ideas.
Yeah.
We have some of his writings on that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
Hmm.
I had a class on this.
Very, very deep
somewhere.
stuff.
Somewhere. Hockey, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's
In
probably.
any case, it's a very interesting prayer to start thinking about. Should we say it? Should we not say it? What our intentions are.
Egyptians say it?
We only say it on the night of Kippur. We don't say it any other time.
Really?
Give this to Rabbi
Never,
today.
never hear it. Any, you know. From,
Send him a copy.
but I would tell you, I would say most Syrian congregations don't say it. Think about it. Think about many synagogues you go to, especially like a first minyan, you don't hear it. A kids minyan, you don't hear it. Which main minyanim do you hear it in? You hear it? Used to be in Shadei Sion. I'm assuming it's still done in Shadei Sion. Bet Torah, is it done there every week? I don't know. We know Sephardic Rabbi Shammah does it.
Every week?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who else does it all the time?
I think Barry saw.
Possibly. It sounds like something that they would do. Praying for the government. It's a nice thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a nice thing to do. And you should pray for the government because the various reasons that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But what should our prayer for the government be? Maybe leave out those pisukim. Okay? If you go back to the actual prayer. Where did it go here? 10 Tishuah. Yeah. Then you start. Hu yibarech v'yishmo v'yinso v'yazo v'romem v'yikei. Say the whole prayer. Say whatever you want to say, you know, which is beautiful words to uplift and bless the government. And just omit those pisukim. And just having those opening pisukim gives the prayer a whole other dimension. And maybe in a situation where things aren't that great, let's say you're living in
Europe.
in Stalin Russia, okay, you're living in a
North Korea.
okay North Korea, you're living in
Just
Iran,
You just keep going.
you're
What
living
countries
in
are-
wherever, in any sort of place that isn't exactly ideal. Yeah,
That
put
makes
those
sense.
put those pisukim in, because if you don't pray for the government, they're gonna have your head. So you're praying for the government anyway. So having those pisukim there also makes a lot of sense for you to understand what your real thoughts are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like they have these evil governments
Yeah,
that they were, afflicting them and
They did.
tyrannizing them all the time.
and they always had evil
And,
governments.
and it's important for the
It
kahal.
wasn't only until recently that we don't
Yeah.
have non-evil governments.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to think about.
No, but it's important for the kahal to recognize
Even
that,
care.
that you don't. This isn't proper. It's not just. It's not what God wants, and
Right.
or the Torah wants.
But the kahal needs to be educated. They need to be educated into praying for the government, while we pray for the government, while we need a government, while we have to follow the laws of the government, all these things need to be handed over to the people. Okay, we need to teach them Tanakh. We need to teach them understanding of the Pisukim. There's so much, and we're doing nothing. We all say we're doing in our schools and our synagogues, we're doing nothing.
Yeah, right. Like none of us even knew where those Pesukim